Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 289 of the RRBG podcast. This episode is also brought to you by Killcliff. My friends over at Killcliff make the best energy drink you can buy in the market today. Clean energy, none of that crap that they put in Monster or any of those Red Bulls. No sugar, just clean power for all the grind you're going to have to put in today. And if you're not grinding today and you just want to relax, they also have CBD drinks to help you recover from any injuries you may have, any kind of inflammation. Maybe you went a little too hard at the gym. CBD drink will get you right back on track. Go to their website, killcliff.com. Check out all their different flavors. My personal favorite Ignite drink is the Cherry Limeade. And in the CBD category, you have to try the Joe Rogan Special. It's the Flaming Joe Pineapple with Jalapeno. It's not that spicy. You just get a little bit of a kick at the end. It's delicious. Go to killcliff.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com to check out all the options that they have. They have these amazing packages with pre-roll joints, which will have pre-rolls from either side of the strain spectrum, either indica or sativa, and they even have multi-strain collections. Pick up one of their amazing Book of Saints. They currently have 2 volumes, volume 2 being a special Halloween edition. It looks like the Necronomicon. It's amazing. They're currently available in Washington and Oregon and will soon be available in California. Go to saintsjoints.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Thunderking Coffee. Thunderking provides organic, air-roasted coffee straight out of Costa Mesa, California. It's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had. My personal favorite is the Positive Morning Attitude. I order 2 pounds of this almost every 2 weeks because I just can't get enough. But they also have bottled cold brew. They have their special California Christmas peppermint cold brew out right now. You can order it from their website. So go to thunderkingcoffee.com and check it out. Support small, independent businesses, people. In this episode, I talked to MMA fighter Victor Henry. Victor recently had his UFC debut in which he won with a unanimous decision. We talked a little bit about how he got to the UFC, how he met Josh Barnett, who is currently training him. We talked about his family heritage. We talked about growing up as a kid and getting into fights and learning that he wanted to become a professional fighter. We talked about discipline. We talked about his day job. It was great. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him on social media at Victor Henry MMA. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications button there so you can start seeing our videos whenever they pop up. And if you get a chance, check out our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG and support the podcast. Cheers. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. Today I'm being joined by Victor Henry. How are you, brother?
What's up, dude? I'm chilling, man. How you by yourself?
I'm chilling. Happy weekend, Saturday. I know you got work today, but still, it's the weekend.
Yeah.
It's the weekend for someone. How you been? How's life since your UFC debut?
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's completely changed, and in a lot of ways, it's been the same. More people recognize me, but I kept doing the same thing, just working and training, doing my thing. I mean, ain't nothing gonna change on my end until I'm done. So, you know, yeah. I gotta get back to work.
Yeah. You're not gonna turn into a WWE guy like what Connor does and shit, where they just go out there and just yell and scream and make a scene.
Nah, that's not my type, man. I mean, the fighting part is what I like, and you know, even though they did make a lot of money doing it, I don't want to sell myself out that way. You know, in that way, I'll sell myself out in different ways.
I was gonna say, so is there a number? Is there a number where it's like, okay, fine, you know?
Yeah, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah. Is there like, what is it, 5 million, 10 million? How many millions do you need to be like sponsoring Icy Hot or some shit?
Bro, I don't know, but I have said to strangers before, you want to do something strange for a little bit of change. So
Ah, okay, that works. I like that. Is there a number to get you to stop fighting?
Probably not, because I'll probably go out and fight a homeless person.
So I'm assuming ever since you were little, you were you had this in you of like this desire to fight. I mean,
yes and no. I mean, I remember being younger and my mom telling me, no matter what it is, just don't fight. No matter what it is, just do not fight. And sure enough, like when I was a kid, I had long hair down to my butt, and my mom would sit me down every morning and put the rubber bands in my hair. I had like 6 or 7 rubber bands going down my back, so I could keep it all tight. And I remember being a kid and hating when my hair was out because it made me feel like a girl, because my hair at the time was a lot different. It was just real straight and everything. And, kids being kids, they would come by and they would pick the rubber bands out, and I would go home and my mom would be like, where's the rubber bands? And I'd be like, well, home, these kids are picking it out of my hair. And my mom, thinking like an adult, she's like, why would they pick the rubber bands out of your hair? That makes no sense. But, we're kids. And of course, nobody does things that makes any sense.
Yeah. So
I was getting in at school, and then when I got home, my mom would give me a bunch of shit. So eventually it just added up. And sure enough, first time I got in a fight, these kids kept picking crap out of my hair, and eventually I just had enough, and I just took off my backpack, started swinging it, and just started fighting these kids. And then, sure enough, I was kind of like, well, that was kind of fun, even though I was really upset that my hair was out and I was all, frizzy, and, none of the teachers got called or anything, but did remember, hey, that was kind of fun. Okay.
Did you watch a lot of like martial arts films growing up when you were little, before like you started, learning that you like fighting?
Yes and no. I mean, my dad at the time, he would be like, hey, let's watch this Bruce Lee movie. And I was like, okay, that was fun, but now I'm gonna go play Power Rangers. So it's always been around, Power Rangers, Bruce Lee movies, of course the Mad Max films, even though it's not even martial arts, but people, fighting, Yeah. There's always been some sort of conflict movies and things like that where I was like, oh, that's pretty fun. And of course my dad watching boxing and everything.
Yeah. Boxing was a big thing for me growing up as well. My uncles used to watch it all the time, and my dad obviously would be a part of it, even though, he was too busy doing other things. But like I would hang out with my uncles, and they were always watching boxing, and I think that was my first moment where I realized like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And I started watching the UFC when it first popped up, when there was no rules and fucking different, no weight classes, no nothing,
I remember when my dad, we went to a friend's house that was right across the street, and every now and again they would have these boxing fights. And the one that I specifically remember was when De La Hoya fought Chavez Sr.
Oh, nice.
And I remember just everybody just gathering around and drinking like crazy, and they had their box of ostiones, and they had their limes, and everybody was ready to party. And I remember everybody being so upset when De La Hoya won. And it's like, because they were like, no, we don't like that guy, bro. I was like,
he's too young and too pretty.
But I remember when how everybody was just so involved in that fight. Everybody was just like so emotionally attached to that fight, and I was like, dang, these people don't even know you, but it affects you like this. All right, cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's fascinating how people get, I mean, also there's I don't know how much betting was going on at your house, but betting is a a big factor in my family. They would get more emotionally attached because there was a couple grand attached too. So, but that's funny, man. I remember getting in my first fight once. I was in, I want to say like 5th grade, maybe. This tall, and I remember him being Polish. This big, tall Polish dude. I even remember his name, dude. His name was Basil. It was fucking
Basil?
Basil, yeah.
Oh, well, that kid had to do a lot of fighting if his name was Basil.
Yeah, dude. But he was tall and lanky, and I don't even remember why we were fighting. I just remember him calling me out and wanting to fight me for some reason. So I said, fuck it, let's go. And we went outside, and he pulled out a knife and like tried to stab me, but he missed and like cut me on the forearm. And I just fucking did like an uppercut because I was a little kid. My brain, it's like Mortal Kombat, do an uppercut.
Yeah.
So I kind of like when he threw the knife, I just went up with an uppercut and knocked him out. And then he got up and like hugged me and was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Why did you want to fight me? And why are we friends now? You know?"
Well, you almost got stabbed by a kid named Basil, knocked him out, and then got hugged.
Yeah, dude. It's so
you
weird.
went through the gambit of emotions.
So many emotions. Like, what do you think that is that, I mean, I don't know if you felt this, but like when you fight someone afterwards, there is this weird, like, respect / can we be friends now that we've kicked each other's asses, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that violence, for the most part, doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with hate. You know, I think hate is a piece of it. Like, it's definitely involved, and a lot of people talk themselves into a corner when it comes to just violence. You have your guys like, of course, Conor McGregor, like we were just talking, like he talks so much shit, and I don't think a lot of it is just showmanship. I think that for the most part, he needs to talk himself into a corner. That way he can put pressure on himself to train as best as he can. Because, I mean, the way I see it, if I talked all this shit, I'm thinking to myself, well, I better not go out and bitch out because I just talked all this mess, right? So, you know, you have those types. And you also have the types where early Tito Ortiz, you know, he would be just, you know, the Huntington Beach bad boy where he was just like, everything was just so emotional. But I think even though those are elements of it, I don't think violence is everything about it. You know, when you go in, especially into a cage or a ring, and you go out there and you beat the crap out of each other, well, no matter what the paycheck is, you and that person share with each other what nobody really has, you know, as far as you and that person. You know, we may fight other people and everything, so we have that in connection to somebody, but we have that understanding amongst each other that, hey, we went out there and we, you know, physically battled to the best of our ability, and, you know, win, lose, or draw, no matter what way it goes, we have that understanding of each other. Yeah. You know, so I think violence is a what's the word? Is a very broad, I don't even know what word I'm looking. It's like it's a very big way of communicating with each other, but it's also a good way of becoming, you know, respectful. One with each other, I guess.
Yeah, one with each other. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, man. I mean, I honestly, I respect when somebody comes at me and you know, we get into a fight or whatever. I haven't had an actual fight in a long time, but usually whenever we would get in a fight afterwards, it was kind of like this mutual respect and kind of more of a willingness to understand each other. And, you know, you hear people say shit like, oh, you know, violence doesn't solve anything. Violence doesn't solve anything. I'm like, I disagree. I disagree completely. Like, maybe some uncontrolled, you know, kind of rage type of violence. Yeah, that doesn't solve anything. But if you're having a difference with someone or you know, you're calling each other names for whatever reason, it's like, hey, stop calling each other names. Let's fight. Let's see who is better. You think you're better than me? Let's go. Let's fucking see. And maybe I'm not better than you. Who knows? We'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not always the answer, but it is always an answer.
An answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And it doesn't matter if you're right, wrong. If, you know, even if I'm right and somebody beats my ass, I'll be like, well, even though I still think I'm right, you whoop my ass. Ain't nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just get home, we'll get better, I guess. You know, that's all you can do.
Yeah, and go home and freaking eat your pozole or whatever.
Well, okay, so I wanted to ask you, your name is Victor Henry, but you sound Mexican. Is it just because you've been in LA your whole life, or are you part Mexican?
I'm actually half Mexican. My dad's from Mexico City, brought me up, you know, speaking Spanish. I'm from Southgate. Growing up, you know, as a white boy in a very Latin predominant area, you know, it is what it is, you know.
But you consider yourself white boy even though you're half Mexican?
Bro, I'm whatever I need to fit in, man. I'm a chameleon right now, dude. You know, I mean,
el güero loco.
I'm a little güerito. I mean, that's been, you know, a nickname for me growing up the entire time. Güerito, sunshine, you know. I know that my skin color gives me away as a certain race, right? Sure. I even got red in my beard.
Right,
I got curly hair. I don't look Mexican at all. I don't even look mixed. Yeah. But as soon as I start speaking, and as soon as I start, my mannerisms come out. They're like, "Oh, hold up a second! Like there's some salsa going on over here." Like what the heck?
Salsa verde.
Yeah. So and then people actually is like, "Hold up!" Like you say it, not like you learned it, but like you came up with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, and there is, when I went to Mexico with my dad. We were over by the cathedral and everything, and we were just hanging out because we were visiting family and everything. And some people there made it very obvious that they knew that I was American and they didn't like it. So they started talking shit. And then my dad's like, "Oh, just ignore me, go ignore." I was like, "I don't give a shit. Like, I just got done with a fight. And then from here, I came to Mexico with you. Next week, I'm going to Europe with my coach for a grappling tournament. You think I give a shit what this pendejo on the corner of Mexico City says? Like, my life is pretty cool right now. I don't give a crap what he says. But, but like I said, it's like when I go over there, they know I'm different. When I'm over here, they know I'm different.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be, some sort of difference, So, that's funny too, because I remember playing soccer when I was a kid, and a lot of the Mexican kids didn't like the fact that I was faster or better. They didn't like that. So they put a colos in my rib or try to hit me and everything. And I just remember grabbing people and be like, "Hey, you do that again, I'm going to break your nose." Like it's not going to be fun. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that difference that you're talking about, that uniqueness, really does shape who you become as well. Like, I mean, I've always felt that way too. Like, I don't really fit in with any particular group. I learned English for second. Spanish was my first language, and then learning it after, and then that's all I speak now. So sometimes people don't think I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Like I just started a new gig and I heard them talking shit like, el nuevo. I'm like, oh, and then like, este nuevo está un poco pendejo, eh? I'm like, I speak Spanish, motherfucker. Like, váyate pa la pinga. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? And immediately, once I let it out, they're like, "Oh, okay, you're good. It's so weird." But anyway, I think it does, having this uniqueness that feeling that you don't really belong to a particular group. It always kind of leads to similar paths, like MMA. You like metal, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Like it's the outsiders kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I don't like when people try to just you fit this category, therefore you must think this. Mm-hmm. I have my girlfriend. She has her friends think a certain way, and they see and what's funny is that they see me. And what do they see? They see beard, long hair. I walk around and sometimes I'm just walking around normal. No logos on my shirt, just like a black shirt, some black pants, and I'm just walking around. So they think I think a certain way, but then they figure out that I think a different way. And then sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. But either way, I'm just like, well, whatever, right? But that transcends just that one's situation, even within the MMA community, within the fighting community. I mean, I've always hated when fighters would lose fights and they say, "Oh, you know what? I need to drop down a weight class." And it's like, I don't think that's it, man. Like, so just the thought process and of just doing things differently has always just made, I guess, like you said, just made you different, And,
well, that's what makes you stand out and makes you rise too, man. It makes you rise to the top, because a lot of people want to fit a certain mold or a certain, and as long as you're thinking differently, you're going to surpass anything that they're doing, because they're stuck in one place. Yeah,
no, yeah, but you're just, since you're coming at it at a different angle, like I said, you might be wrong and you might be right. If I'm wrong, then I'll learn, then I'll just go there. No, it was this way,
Yeah, man. Let me ask you, La Mangosta. That's what when I Googled you, this is La Mangosta as your nickname. Where'd that come from? Is it like langosta, like a lobster, like the
not
grip
lobster.
strength?
Yeah, that's so growing up, my nickname was El Monstro. That's what my dad called me. When I was younger, it was Monstilio. And then when I got older, it was Monstro. And then when I got to be an adult, it was Don Monstro. That's what my dad and his friends called me, right? So when I started fighting and my coach, Josh Barnett, goes, "We need to give you a nickname." And I was like, "Well, you know the rules. I don't come up with my nickname. Y'all do, right?" He goes, "All right, I'll be back." And he came back with, "We're going to call you the Mongoose, La Mangosta." I was like, "Why? That sounds weird." He goes, "Well, you're half Mexican and we're going to do something, we're going to do something with, Spanish. And you're just like a little mongoose, man. Like, you're feisty, you're fast, you're curious, and you get into shit, and you're just like a little general ruffian." And I was like, whatever, dude. But then he starts ending up calling all of his other fighters some sort of fucking zoo animal. Like, we had, like, bro, I was like, what is this? Like, at one point, we had this kid we called Wolf Cookies.
Wolf
He was a little huskier, but, and then we found out that in his wrestling team, they called him Bambino. So it was like a Bambi, like a deer. We had another guy, he was like the Wolverine. We had another kid who was, Shohei Yamamoto, but he was, we called him Keiji Tora, which Cage Tiger.
Nice.
So I go up to Josh one day. I was like, "Bro, you know what I'm going to start calling you? I'm going to stop calling you the Warmaster. I'm going to call you the Zookeeper." And he looks at me, "You call me that shit? I'm beating your ass." I was like, "You're going to beat my ass anyways, bro." Like,
yeah, that's Josh's form of training is kicking your ass until you learn how to get out of there.
Yeah. Bro, speaking of which, he hit me in the liver one time. Now, Josh is the only person to ever hit me in the liver and drop me.
Wow.
I mean, I've been hit in the liver plenty of times, but never like dropped.
Yeah.
Like, you make that sound and then you hit the floor.
Yeah. Josh
hits me in the liver. There's like 30 seconds in the round left. He hits me in the liver and I drop. Boom. And he starts beating my ass, just like on me, just not hitting me super hard, but just like putting weight and pressure on me.
Yeah.
And then I hear the bell ring, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna get off. And then sure enough, another knee to the liver, boom. And he goes, this round is not over until you get up. So I'm like, ugh. So I'm just sucking in air, trying to get up, and then I finally get up, and he's clearing pressure, but I just go uncork a right hand, and I barely miss him. And he goes, "All right, you got 10 seconds left in the break." I was like, beep. Now I had to go with somebody else, all still liver cramping and everything.
Jesus.
So, it's funny because, like, from that day on, I understood the fight isn't over until it's over.
Yeah.
The bell don't mean shit. Honorably, the bell means something, but the bell is not for us as fighters. The bell is for the referee to step in.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you don't stop until the referee stops you.
Yeah, so everything else is just honorable. Like if I pull a punch right at the bell, that's because I'm honorable and I have quick reflexes or whatever. But if I just go ham all the way through it, like Durandamain versus Holly Holm.
Yeah.
Hit her after the bell a couple times. And it's like, well, like, yeah, it's dishonorable. You shouldn't be swinging after the bell. Holly Holm, you should kind of be on that, because defend yourself at all times until the ref breaks you.
Yep.
But also, how many times have we seen, submissions be held on for just a little too long? Especially after the referee,
stops it.
Puts his hands on you. Husmar Palhares.
Yeah.
Being in the moment is a real thing. I was, when I won the belt over at Dream, I was fighting and, I didn't even hear the bell. I shot in on the guy against the cage and I picked him up and then the referee comes and goes, no. Like he puts his hands on me and I'm like, what are you doing? Like I thought I had just gotten choked or something because he goes, no, end of round. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even hear the bell.
Yeah, man. That's a big concern for me. Like that's one of the reasons I never really got into it is I don't know how to pay attention to that part of like, maybe this is where I stop. And it's not because I'm not an honorable person or whatever. It's just like you said, the heat of the moment. When you're in there and you're getting hit and you just, if it's not like a hit that takes you out, all it's doing is pissing you off more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're hitting me in the same spot over and over. It doesn't really hurt all that much, but you're just annoying, you know, and not just something snaps, you know, and that's my concern is that I probably punched a ref. You know what I mean?
You can be next Paul Bailey.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, so, but yeah, that makes sense, dude. And, you know, talking about Josh and everything, it's, some people may think that training is too harsh or too hard, but Josh is trying to train you how to be a fighter everywhere, not just in the UFC, but like in the real world, like real world scenarios as well. Because in the real world, there aren't points. There isn't going to be a ref that's going to stop you. You know, I mean, you have to make sure your opponent's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit. I've been in certain places with Josh where he's just, I can see his head doing this. And then I was like, he's contemplating something in his head. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, we're going to get in a fight right now? He goes, maybe. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So either if I have the athletic tape on me, you start wrapping my knuckles, or I go to the bathroom real quick, get some paper towels, and use a little makeshift mouthpiece. But we're going to do this. Turns out nothing happened. But
paper towels with a mouthpiece with paper towels?
Yeah. So what you do is you get the paper towels, you just roll it up.
Really?
Jam it in there, and you're ready to.
That's good. I didn't know. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So, how did you meet Josh? Like, how did you become a student of his and get that whole thing going?
Yeah. So, a long time ago, I was training over in Hollywood with a coach named Jimmy Romero. It was the team was called the Strike Sub Club, and you know we had moved out of Legends because of just Jimmy and the owner of Legends, Chris Riley, having just different training philosophies. And so I went with my coach, Jimmy. Eventually, because when we left Legends, we were training out of True Warrior Fitness with Toby Tiger Heart Greer. And that's where I actually met, you know, Cooper Gibson, Chase Gibson. I met a lot of people there. But we were still just one team training out of another gym. So eventually, one of the students was good friends with Josh Barnett. So she kind of mentioned, hey, why don't you teach like a little seminar, make a little extra side cash? And then he was like, yeah, I'm down, whatever. So he taught this one seminar. And I remember being there and be like, oh shit, that's just Josh. He fought in Pride, this, that, and the other. So I remember just doing everything to the best of my ability. Okay. And I was asking questions and doing all that. And he was, oh yeah, you know, you're doing all right. Josh saw that me and a couple other guys wanted to fight. And he goes, he was telling Jimmy, why don't you bring a couple of these kids down to CSW where I'm training for a little extra sparring, see how they do. So we would go every now and again. And, you know, he didn't take a liking to me then or start training me. He was just noticed that I was serious about it. Okay. Eventually my team broke up. Like my coach was like, you know what? This isn't making me money anymore. I need to find a way to make some good money in order to live. So he just disbanded the team. So I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anywhere to train. I was just like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do. Josh Barnett gives me a call on my phone and he goes, hey, get to the gym on Monday. I said, bro, I don't got a job. I can't pay. He goes, that's not what I said, asshole. Get to the gym on Monday. I said, shit, all right. So I rolled up. He comes up to me. He tells me, you got a pro fight in about 3 weeks. And I was like, shit, all right. You know, make it happen or whatever. So I'm training and then had the fight, and slowly but surely Josh would just throw things at me like, go do this grappling tournament, go do this, go do that. How's training? And he would just ask me and tell me, and I would just, of course, anytime he got me a fight, I would fight. Anytime he told me to do a grappling tournament, I would do it. Anytime he told me to go outside and run 5 miles and sprint and do this, I would just do it. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but he was actually testing me to see if I was even worth training. Because sure enough, you know, being in this now that as long as I have, I've seen what you need to do in order to become a good fighter, a competent martial artist and all that. And I've seen the excuses people make for themselves to not do things, such as just get a passport. He told me to get a passport. I was like, shit, okay, I'm going to get one right away.
Yeah.
He goes, because you never know, we're going to need to fight out of the country. I said, all right. But just like the things that people would do. No, I got this. No, I got that. I can't go to this grappling tournament because I can't afford it. Or why can't you afford it? You can afford to go drinking out every weekend, but you can't afford to go to a $40 grappling tournament. You know? So, but he was tempering me and testing me. Eventually it got to the point where he's like, all right, this kid is serious and he wants to do it. And he's literally listening to everything. I would practice. I would drill things that he would tell me to do every day after practice until I was able to hit it live. And that was his way of, again, like getting to see if I was going to be serious. So ever since then, Josh has been in my corner and been coaching me ever since.
That's awesome, man. That's great. That's good to hear. I mean, he's a tough cookie for most people. That they don't understand that I'm glad that you picked up on that too. Like the whole, he's testing you. Like he does that to a lot of people. I've seen it. I've known him for a few years now, and I've seen it happen where, he'll say something just to test people's reactions to see how they do. And I mean, and I also the whole head swivel thing. Man, I saw that at the Comedy Store. We were hanging out at the Comedy Store, and he was doing the head swivel, looking around. I'm like, you okay? He's like, just trying to make sure somebody I don't want to see is here. I'm like, are we going to fight? And he's like, if he's here. I'm like, oh, God. Okay. So it's a fun friendship to have, being around.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like the answer is so simple that it confuses people sometimes.
Yeah.
Or it's like, no, he's just doing that to test you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because after I've got, after a while of getting to know Josh and everything, I would do the same thing to him. Yeah. I would disagree with him just because. He goes, no, you can't disagree with me just because. And I was like, yeah, I can. Well, explain yourself. No. And he'd be like, that's bullshit. And he would his mind would just twist like, no, you have to. And I was like, no, I don't. I ain't got to do shit. And then now he gets it. He goes, oh, you're just saying it to piss me off, huh? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun ribbing each other. I mean, that's it's in the MMA world and like pro wrestling too, which Josh does. There's that camaraderie comes with roasting and ribbing each other and just kind of bullying each other. And it's not bullying, but you know what I mean? Like pushing each other to see how far we can take it. But a lot of people can't handle that, dude. I've been around a lot of MMA fighters and professional wrestlers enough to the point where like that's become part of my personality too. And I do it to just normal people, people at a bar or whatever, and people get pissed, dude. And I wish that people would be a little more open to just, getting roasted a little bit. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I've been telling my friends for years, man, if it's funny, you can't get mad. And sometimes it's just fucking funny.
Yep.
One of my friends, one of my friends was, he had this girl that was making false accusations against him. So there's this drink called, it's called a mind eraser because, you drink it, it's called, whatever.
Yeah, but we got like 12 kinds of liquor or something in it. Some ridiculous.
Yeah, got all kinds of stuff in it, right? So we started calling it a Bill Cosby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went from mind eraser to Bill Cosby. So then we started calling it this guy's name because of the freaking accusations this girl was throwing at it. And I was like, what happened was I was working, and then some of my some of the friends came by and everything, and they said, hey, let me get a Joe Cosby. And I was like,
oh no.
Damn. That's good. That's good. Can't even get mad.
Yeah. Hey, so have you work in a bar and you don't drink, but have you ever gotten into, have you had to use your skills at work? Yes,
but very minimally. I use very basic things, and I make sure it's not punching, because obviously you punch somebody, it's going to be a bad thing, even though they're trying to swing on me. But I'm like, okay, block, whatever. Yeah. Most of the time what I'll use is a good arm drag to get to the back and just carry him out. If it's a fight already happening, a body lock takedown, really easy. But one that I've used a lot is when guys start trying to swing. Of course, they throw their body weight into it. I just block, snap them down, get them in a front face lock, and I carry them out. Nice. So basically, I'm twisting their neck this way as I'm just carrying them out by their neck, and I'm just like, all right, bro, like just relax, just leave. And they're like, bro, blah, blah, blah. Of course they want, at that point they're thinking. You can tell that they're running through the scenario in their head. They're like, I just tried to beat this guy up who's half my size, and he carried me out by my face. So you can tell, like, they're standing there with their fists clenched, and they're just like,
let me stop.
Then they started, I'll meet you after work. I was like, I get off at 3, bro. I remember one time I carried this. I mean, these guys were doing drugs in the bathroom, and I was like, all right, you guys got to go out. Kicked them out, and of course they were mad. It's like, bro, you can't be doing that, man. So they're, how are we back? Whatever. So after work, I'm sitting with me and the other bouncers. We're sitting there on the bar patio, and we're having they're drinking because they get a shift drink. I'm like eating a little bit, and the guys come back. Hey, motherfucker, fuck you, blah blah blah. And I said, let's go right now. I told you I'd be back at closing. And I was like, how many do you got? They said, we got. What's up? It's 3 of us. What's up? I was like, you need more people. And they were like, what? I was like, it's just going to be me, right? You need more people. I was like, that guy is way too weak. That guy's way too fat. Him, maybe, but you need more people. What the fuck? And then they left.
Sometimes that's all it takes, man. You just got to, not be a bitch about it. Just be like, hey.
Yeah, well, you got, bro, I'm telling you. The things that I've done when I kick people out, it's borderline mean, but it's hilarious because I make fun of them at the same time. Yeah. Because I kicked this one lady. I kicked this one guy out, and I talked like Mickey Mouse the entire time. Oh, you know, fucked up. Oh, you can't do that. Oh.
Yeah, that would piss somebody off, I would think.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've kicked out somebody and tell me, oh, I'm a lawyer. And I just say, I object. Take this up with Law and Order.
I object.
Yeah, I object. And it just the amount of crap talking I do to people when of course, because at this point they're acting ignorant. I'm very nice. I'm very lenient, more so than other bouncers, because what I've learned is that even with bouncing, there are some people that just want to get in a fight because they're in a position that that it's acceptable. So they just come in, they want to put their hands on people.
Yeah.
There are other bouncers who have been doing this for so long, they don't care. They just want to sit there, but they're not afraid to shy away from it. For me, on the other hand, I'm very I don't want to do this. I had a long training day. I don't want to get in another fight with somebody, especially somebody who sucks at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, just relax. There have been times where I buy somebody a drink. They're like, yo, just relax. You can't do this. You keep doing it. How about if I buy you a drink, can you just relax? All right. So they buy him a drink and boom, nothing happens. Everything's fine. Yeah. But sometimes people just want to get rowdy at the bar. They get that liquid courage and shit.
Do you think that comes from the discipline you get from training and being in MMA? Because I've noticed that a lot of folks that are actually in MMA or in some kind of martial arts, they have a lot more discipline when it comes to a fight, and they don't want to fight. Because that, the outside perspective is fighters are crazy, and you're always trying to pick a fight, or you got to be some kind of savage to be a professional fighter. But it's the opposite, really. If you know how to fight, you're typically the one in the back waiting for things to settle down.
Yeah, yes and no, I guess. I met a lot of fighters that would just want to use it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the
ones on the steroids?
I've heard people use this analogy against guns. It's like, well, yeah, if you have a gun, you're more likely to use it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, no shit, asshole. If you're in a car, you're more likely to get in a crash.
Yeah.
But honestly speaking, on my perspective, I'm just lazy. I don't want to get in a fight. If I was bouncing, the only thing I want to do is I want to get paid to sit on that chair and just check IDs.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Now I'm bartending, so I don't do that much anymore. So, but if the bouncers do need help and I do need to, there is a group of people and there's not enough bouncers or whatever, when I first started, there was the group of bouncers that wanted to start some shit so they can see me get involved. And there was the other group of bouncers that were like, don't get Victor involved because someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like I said, for me, I'm just lazy, and if by getting in a fight on Thursday night messes up my Friday morning practice, then I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, you know, I tell a lot of these fighters, it's not always what you do. It's also what you don't do. You know, you can't be out till 2 a.m, 3 a.m, flirting with girls, trying to get them home, do the business, and then expect to go home. I mean, go to practice the next day at 10 a.m. expecting to have the best sparring session that you can have. So that's not going to happen. Yeah. You're going to be somewhat messed up because you need rest. You know, it's not always about what you do. You can run 7 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, do all the strength and conditioning, do all the pad work, do all this. But if you don't rest, if you don't give yourself time to just recuperate, your performance is going to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's a big factor. People don't realize how important rest is, how important it is not to, like, you're not a drinker, so you don't have to worry about it. But if somebody's a drinker, you know, they can't be going and having, you know, 6 or 7 shots and then have to train in the morning. You're going to wake up throwing up. You'll be like shit. It's funny to me. Do you meditate at all? No,
I mean, I run. That's a form of it, I guess.
It's a form of meditation, yeah. Just because I tell people that all the time, and I've said it here on the show before, where like I try to, the analogy that I tell people about meditation, it's similar to working out, where, you know, if you were to work out every day, you know, for 12 hours out of the day and never go to bed and never rest your muscles and never let them heal and grow, you're going to hurt yourself. That's how people get cramps. And so, you know, if you were to do bicep curls without taking a break for fucking 10 hours, your shit's going to hurt. It's going to be broken, you know, and then you don't rest, you don't let it heal. Same thing happens with your mind. If you don't give your mind a shot to stop and relax and grow, that's how you get crazy people. That's how you get serial killers. Their mind's just constantly going with no moment of meditation. And it doesn't have to be the sitting there, you know, like you said, it could be running. For me, it's music. Music fucking takes me out, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's, I find that always funny how people are like, you know, no days off. It's like, you sure? Because you kind of do need to rest.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a way, there's always an outlet to let your mind be free and wander, I guess, because if you, like you said, you're just wound up all the time, you're bound to just bust open.
Yeah, for sure. So is there a dream opponent for you, alive or dead?
Gandhi.
Okay. I heard was he into MMA, into wrestling?
No, but he was into sleeping with little girls, the fucking weirdo.
Really?
You never heard about that?
I never heard about that.
Well,
they don't teach you that in school.
He would lay in bed with younger, you know, nude girls to test his willpower of resisting the flesh.
Okay, there's better ways of doing that, but all right.
Yes, like just not doing that at all.
Yeah.
You know, I was like me. I'm just gonna swoosh this liquor in my mouth so I can spit it out and resist the liquors.
Yeah. Well, no. Go ahead.
I'm about to say no. I mean, fighting is. The progression of fighting. I mean, the martial artists of today are a lot more well-rounded than the martial arts of the years past. I mean, not taking away from the pure martial artists, like of course your Ernesto Hoosts, you know, K1, you know, and then your Gene LaBelles who have old knowledge that, you know, it's crazy. Like you see those old coaches or those old martial artists, and they have a certain knowledge of certain techniques that it's a detail so small for them that they don't even remember it. They just do it out of habit, but it would just revolutionize the way you would do something. You know, right. For a good example is a Gene LaBelle grip. You know, instead of going to a gable grip, he makes an OK sign and he puts his thumb through that, and just that grip alone can oscillate better than a normal gable grip. You know, so but you have to have a mind for martial arts in order to be able to see those things where you're like, hold up, what was that thing that you just did? Because I saw it. Josh had his fight in Poland.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it and I'm seeing him do certain things where I'm like, nobody's catching this. Nobody's looking at this, and I'm just like, oh, this is what. So when he came back, I was like, I see what you did, fucker. He goes, like, you were doing this, huh? He goes, yeah, I wanted to do this. I was like, that's what I figured. And nobody caught it. And I was like, that's tight.
That's why I think it's important for the commentators to be a professional or at least know something about martial arts so that they can catch shit like that and bring it to the attention of the people watching,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I also disagree because I don't want people knowing all the secrets.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't want to give away the game plan. Yeah. No, I was going to say, we talked about it at Josh's party the other day, but just for the people that are, watching and listening, why are you working in a bar if you don't drink, and why do you choose to not drink? Like, it's, did you just never have it? Or, some people want to go opposite of their parents, so what is it for you?
Well, for the drinking part, I never got curious. I'm not against it. I'm for it. If it's going to enhance your experience at whatever function is going to happen, of course you can go overboard with anything. Sure. When people get blackout drunk and I have to carry them out, that's unfortunate. Because they put themselves in a situation where anything can happen. And it's they're blackout drunk, and I don't like seeing that, but yeah, I just never got curious. When I was younger, of course, my friends started getting into it because I was skateboarding before this. My friends would start drinking, when you're at that age where young people get curious, and I never got curious. I was just like, oh, I suppose that's cool,
No peer pressure ever get to you or anything?
I mean, nah. At that point, remember how we were talking about being different? Mm-hmm. I was different from day one. I was a little white boy in a neighborhood full of Latino kids and black kids. And they made me feel different from the very start because, hey, little white boy, and calling me all sorts of names and everything, didn't want to play with me. So I already knew I was different. So I was like, oh, since I'm different, I'm just going to do what I want instead. I didn't feel the need to fit in. I'm just like, okay, well, I'd like to be your friends, but since you guys are treating me different, I guess I'm just different. So being different wasn't a negative for me. Okay. So of course, when I grew up, when they would try to peer pressure me, I'd be like, nah, I'm chilling. I just, whatever. And I'm actually seeing what it's doing to them because I came to my friend's house so we can go skate, but all they want to do is sit down and drink. And I'm like, all right, when you guys are done, let's go skate. But now they're all drunk because they're 14-year-old kids who can't handle their liquor.
Yep.
So, all right, that's boring. So now I'm going to go skate by myself. So just coming up with that, I was like, I guess I'm just not curious. And of course, when I got older and I saw what drinking in moderation is, and you don't have to just go balls to the wall. At that point, I was just like, I'm just not curious. And I'm also broke.
Yeah, that does play a factor for sure.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, cool, whatever, man. So, yeah, y'all do your thing. I'll spend my money on chicken and rice because that's all I can afford to eat right now. Whatever. But the reason why I started working at that bar is before I was working as a dishwasher in a restaurant over in downtown Fullerton. This restaurant was owned by a friend of Josh's, and I said, hey, man, is it okay if I don't take any breaks for lunches? Just give me one long break in the middle of my shift so I can go to practice. I'll shower, I'll come back, and I'll finish my duties. He said, yeah, it's fine. Well, one day, I guess the health department came and they didn't like the fact that there was no dishwasher there. Even though I cleared everything, the back was clean as hell. But then when I would come back, there would be, of course, I have to go through the brunch dishes, and everything because it would stack up, which fine, whatever, right? But I would blow through that, and there was never a time where it was left dirty because I was gone. Because I would stay there and I would just clear all my dishes until I had to clock out. So it was easy, right? Well, like I said, I guess the health department came. They didn't like it. So Josh's friend said, yo, man, we need you to stay. And I was like, well, if I stay, that means I miss practice. It's not what I'm trying to do in my life. I'm not trying to be a dishwasher.
Right.
So he goes, all right, man, we're just going to have to let you go. I said, no problem. If you hear of a job in the area, let me know. He goes, all right, well, he goes, wait, my friend over here that owns this bar is trying to open up, is trying to get bouncers right now. And I said, okay. So I went and I applied. Mind you, I'm 5'7", 155 pounds.
Yeah,
About to be the best damn bouncer ever.
Yeah, not
right?
the standard bouncer.
Yeah, not the standard bouncer. So when I walked in, of course, there's this guy who's like 6'3", and he's like well over 300 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here to apply for the bouncer position. He goes, who sent you? I said, Eric Hammer. He goes, okay, well, fill this out. I filled it out, didn't hear a word. I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm going around, and one of the other cooks that had previously worked at this restaurant said, hey, what's up? What you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, no, I'm just looking for a job. You need somebody? They were like, you can start tomorrow. And I was like, shit, all right. So I would work on the days that I didn't have to train, at certain times and everything. So, or I would just go at night, so it worked out. I was able to train. I was able to get paid a little bit. It was fine. Right. Yeah. So from there, Hammer calls me again. He goes, yo, they're still calling me. Did you go apply? And I said, yeah, man, I did. He goes, go apply again because they're still calling me to go in and bounce. I was like, all right. So I went in there, applied again, and they said, Hammer sent you? I said, yeah. I said, all right, well, you can start this weekend. I was like, all right. So I started that weekend, and the very first thing that happened, big old fight.
Nice.
They said, Vic, get this guy out. I was like, shit, all right. Wrapped this guy up, threw him out. Literally threw him over a fence. Whoop. It was like a 3-foot fence, up to your hip, but I just threw him, tossed him out. And everybody was like all in panic and everything because it was a fight,
Yeah.
But I'm just here chill, cool as a cucumber. They're like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell? It wasn't until later they found out that I was a professional fighter. But all the other bouncers were like, oh, we got to watch out for this little guy. We have to watch for him. And I'm just like,
yeah, watch out for Hammer's little buddy.
Yeah, like I'm cool. Like, you guys can relax. And at this time, it's funny because they were all older than me. I was like, y'all go have a cigarette, sit down, and check your pacemakers. And like, I'll be fine. So I was working at that bar for a while. Eventually, one of the bartenders at that bar opened up a spot right next door. It's a pizza joint. Pizza joint and bar and craft beer. So when they opened up, I was over there, and I started kind of just helping out behind the counter because my goal was to, of course, work behind the bar because, of course, they make more money than being just a bouncer. I saw the freaking bartenders walk away with a couple $100 a night. I was like, shit, that's good shit. If I can get to that, because we're here on the same hours anyways, and here I am just sitting on my butt checking IDs. But if I can get back there, I could do well for myself. So the bartender that actually opened up next door saw that I was, putting in the work. He's a fight fan also. He also knows Josh. So he was like, I'm going to give him a chance behind the bar. And just from then on, I've been bartending ever since. But because I didn't know jack about alcohol or anything, I had to come in a lot on my time off for free just to learn. Like, somebody said Jameson ginger ale. I said, what the hell is that? Yeah. So they told me, okay, 2 ounces of this, and I was like, okay, easy enough. And now just going through the repetitions, of course, going on, getting the recipe apps on my phone, just doing things like that. Because I remember people come up to me, let me get a buttery nipple and 3 Sex on the Beaches. And I was like, I don't know what any of that shit is.
Are you coming on to me?
Even to this day, sometimes people give me a cocktail. I'm just like, never heard of it, man. Oh, they have it at this one bar. And I was like, oh, it's probably a specialty thing. Yeah. Like, pull up the menu. Let me see if I can take a guess of what it is. Because after a while, you can kind of guess what is going on in a drink by just looking at it. You're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see. Because they'll give you the recipes, but they won't give you they'll give you what's in it, but they won't give you the ounces and everything. But you can kind of take a guess.
Yeah. That's one of the jobs I've always enjoyed doing. I don't know. I guess it's the fact that you get to talk to people. I like talking to people, so I enjoyed, and I enjoy, giving people a good time. Like, you saw me at the party. I showed up with a fucking cooler of beer and a bunch of weed. So, like,
Yeah.
And it's not even for me. Like, I may do that at any party and not even partake. I just do it because I know people want it, and I want people to have a good time. And to me, that was always one of my favorite gigs, was just bartending or working in a place where you're serving people. And it also teaches you a lot about the world, because there's so many people out there that are so entitled and so like wimpy, and they've never worked a day in their lives in an industry like that. They don't get it, but you have that benefit of working in that industry, getting how people work, and also you're trained professionally to fight, so you can protect yourself in case shit gets crazy.
It's interesting because it really, especially in the type of business I'm in, the media side is a big part of it. And since it teaches you how to talk to people, all sorts of people, you just roll with the punches when it comes to certain people, And because there are people that are just absolutely weirdos. They're absolute weirdos. And those are the best people to be around.
Yeah. They're the most entertaining, at least to me.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
I got two more things before we wrap this up. Number one, what is, give me like 3 or 4 songs that are on your workout playlist.
Ah, damn. That's a good one, because my playlist is always changing, depending, well,
right now, like currently.
Right now, all right, so I was listening to Olamide, okay, Olamide. It's like an African playlist, so it's like African rap and everything, and I was listening to that this past Friday when I was at grappling practice. I was listening to everything by Olamide and just moving and grooving, right? When I was boxing with my coach earlier that day, I was listening to Grand Funk Railroad. I went that way. Before that, what was I listening to? I was listening to Zeppelin. Before that, I was listening to Josh's, Most Metal playlist. My playlist goes absolutely wild. Before that, I was listening to corridos.
Oh, shit. Nice.
I was listening to Los Originales de San Juan.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. So, bro, like I said, my music is pretty much everywhere. Right now, what's in my car, as soon as I turn on my car, my Bluetooth connects, I'm listening to Gygax, Gygax, Gygax.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. They sound kind of like Thin Lizzy. The singer kind of sounds like Thin Lizzy, but it's like in a very 70s, 80s power metal. It makes you feel like you're in a video game. Not quite Dragon Force, but it's some cool shit,
Okay. All right. And then finally, the last thing I have, do you have a fight coming up? Is there anything that you're training towards? And do you just stay and train? Like, I assume you have to just stay in shape all the time, because you might get a call and have a fight in 2 weeks,
Yeah. So you're right about that one. I always pretty much stay in the gym, and I'm staying in shape. I'm always in the gym just because I enjoy it. I enjoy being in the gym, being with my friends who also train, and being with them and helping them get ready for their fights. There is an element of always keeping your weight at an acceptable range. So if you do get a fight in a 2 weeks notice, you can make the weight. I don't believe in blowing up to whatever pounds, and you can't take these short opportunities. My last fight, 2 week notice. I said, shit. All right. I've been kind of training, but I make sure my weight is down so I can cut the weight and let's go for it. Right. But all that I did in that fight was only because I had been in the gym. I had been preparing just in case something came up. As of right now, I don't have anything booked. Josh is reaching out to the UFC and telling them that I'm ready to go. So whenever they see fit, then your boy will be back in there punching faces.
Hell yeah, man. I look forward to it, because, I'm surprised they're not knocking on your door with the impressive, performance you had at the last fight. It was, I hadn't met you yet, and but I knew of you through Josh, and I've known Josh for years, so I was stoked just to be like, yeah, he's a homie, even though we're not homies. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was just stoked to see that, and to see that the performance went so well. So I'm honestly surprised and shocked that they're not knocking on your door right now already, but hopefully soon. And I know Josh will get on it and get you, They'll listen to him.
Don't listen to him. Yeah, he's Josh. They'll either get sick of him and give me somebody, or they'll be happy with him and give me somebody. So yeah. I really think it depends on where the UFC wants to go with me. I think I put myself in a very funny situation where beating a top guy like that in the way that I did puts me in a certain category, but at the same time, I'm in this category because it is still just my freshman fight
right
in the UFC. So, where do they want to go? I'm wherever they want to go, I'm down with it. Because I'm getting paid to fight anyways. So
yeah, that's true. Well, hey brother, thank you so much for chilling with me and talking for a while. I was really happy I got to meet you at the party the other night, and figured let's get to know each other a little bit more and talk. So I appreciate you doing it, man.
Thank you very much, bud.
If anybody wants to follow your adventures online, social media, where do they go?
Victor Henry MMA on Instagram, and it's the same thing on Twitter.
Okay. Oh, damn! One last thing, real quick.
What's up?
The Gentleman's Fight Club. What's that about? Again, I saw you had that on your Instagram.
Gentleman's Fight Club. It's a small shop. If you're from the LA area, there's this. If you go to Chinatown, it's a small shop called East West Shop. Okay, it's right across from what's that hot chicken spot?
Dave's.
That everybody loves, huh?
Dave's.
No, it's not Dave's. It's the other one. See, I don't even go anymore because I'm loyal to Dave's Hot Chicken. For real. Howlin' Ray's. It's across from Howlin' Ray's. Yeah, it's across from Howlin' Ray's. It's called East West. It's called East West Shop. Well, there's a clothing brand, Gentleman's Fight Club. It's also a jiu-jitsu brand. This guy Dennis, he's a friend of Josh's, and he's been working with me since for a while now, and he made the Gentleman's Fight Club Southgate shirt, and it's skate apparel with jiu-jitsu and fighting influence.
Nice.
So okay. Those guys have been treating me right. They've been in my corner before the UFC, and since they were in my corner before the UFC, I got to be in their corner, until the wheels fall off.
Hell yeah, man! That's how you do it. You build community.
Yeah.
For sure, brother. Well, hey, thanks again, everybody. Please follow him at Victor Henry MMA. And yeah, please subscribe, all those things that people have to say to, stay relevant in the algorithm. So.
Yeah, for real.
All right, brother. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Absolutely, man.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace, man. Thanks.